Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Hope you're all fine. Welcome back to our social study chapter. The chapter name is Opposition to British Rule in Karnataka. Whereas in the previous class we were discussing about the Second Anglo-Mysore War. The Second Anglo-Mysore War, it ended with the Treaty of Mangalore. And this war, it ended in the year 1784. As we have already come to know, during this war, during the Second Anglo-Mysore War, Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan's father, has died because of the disease. After the death of his father, the Tipu Sultan has taken the position and he continued the war with the Britishers, and finally he won against the Britishers. So after losing the war with the Tipu Sultan, the Britishers thought for an agreement, and agreement held in between of Tipu Sultan and Britishers in the year 1784, that we can call Mangalore Treaty. And as per the Mangalore Treaty, the conditions were similar one which we have already discussed in the first Anglo-Mysore War. I will not attack on you until and unless you will not attack on me. So whenever I'll be in the trouble, you should have to come for helping me, and whenever you will be in the trouble, I will be there for helping you. So as we have discussed in the Madras Treaty, the same situation, same conditions even continued in the Mangalore Treaty also. Then what are the things have made to continue this third Anglo-Mysore War? Why? What are the misunderstandings were there, or what are the discoordinations were there in between of Tipu Sultan and the Britishers for continuing the war, the third Anglo-Mysore War? That all the things we'll look after. But before moving ahead, we need to understand a few things about the Tipu Sultan. As we know, the Tipu Sultan is considering as the Tiger of Mysore. There are certain reasons to call him as a Tiger of Mysore, but here the Tipu Sultan, he just wanted to expand his entire territory. After the death of his father, he has taken the position. He has become the new ruler of a Mysore dynasty, and he wanted to expand the territory of his. He wanted to expand the kingdom of his. So for expansion of the kingdom, he was finding, or he was feeling, that the Britishers are the main hurdles for him. The Britishers are the main obstacles for him. So he just want to remove, or he just want to drive out the Britishers from India, from entire the India. And once if he removed the Britishers, or once if the Britishers left the India, then it will be easy for him to capture or to rule entire the Karnataka part. So this was the intention of Tipu Sultan. So due to this reason, Tipu Sultan, he started to be understanding, or he just started to be knowing all the facts about the Britishers, the merits and the demerits of the Britishers. And then he come to know, or then he come across to know about the point which was the main weakness for the Britishers. The weakness is trade, or we can call as a business. So this was the point clearly understood by the Tipu Sultan. So then Tipu Sultan is making proper planning to hit the Britishers. If I am going for hitting the Britishers with the arms and the weapons, it may not be possible by me to hit them or to vanish them all of a suddenly. So if I am pointing, or if I am holding their weak point, then, or the weak zone, then definitely I can get a conquer over them. So this was the thought which Tipu Sultan made in his mind, and because of this reason, he started to collect all the people, those who were against of the Britishers, all the kings, those who were revolting against of the Britishers. So he has collected every members, and he has called a small get together, or the meeting we can call it out. And as per that results, or as per that meeting's result, we can understand one fact, that all the kings, they started to rejecting the trade of the Britishers. They started to avoiding the Britishers for maintaining business in their own territory or in their own kingdoms. So this was the greatest setback for the Britishers. The Britishers, they can tolerate, for if you are killing their 100 soldiers, they may tolerate. If you are looting their wealth, they may tolerate it. But if you are holding, or if you are trying to be demolish or destroy their business point, they may not control it. So that was the thing which has happened with the Tipu Sultan. When he has revolted against the Britishers, not by physically and all, by financially, when he was revolting, when he started to give a trouble, the Britishers made a proper planning to attack on the Tipu Sultan, and they just wanted to remove him from their path. As Tipu Sultan was thinking that the Britishers are the obstacles for him, in the same manner the Britishers were also thinking that the Tipu is the obstacles for them. So therefore they wanted to remove the Tipu Sultan. That's what they had taken a support from the Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizams and other members for removing, or for killing, or for smashing the Tipu Sultan. And moreover, during this time, Tipu Sultan, he understood one clear fact that whatever the weapons we are having with us, the old age weapons, and also with these weapons we cannot fight against Britishers in a clear manner. So for making ourselves to be a much comfortable in against of the Britishers, so that's the simple thing that we have to be develop our arms and the weapons. So he has started the first arms or the armaments factory has started, which is locating in Srirangapatna. Till now also it is there. And he is the first person one who has launched the rocket against the Britishers, rocket weapons. He has launched in against of the Britishers in India. He is the first person, he and the Hyder Ali. He just wanted to progress the weapons of his as competitive to the Britishers. Hope you are understanding the scene and the situations. Then these all the things were going on in between of 1784 to 1790. I mean to say 6 years. 1784 to 1719. These all the things were continuously moving in between of Britishers and Tipu Sultan. Then all of suddenly in the year of 1790, what was the key point for starting the battle or the third Anglo-Mysore War, that we will see here. Please concentrate towards the board. Whatever the things have written on the board, have a glance over that. Third Anglo-Mysore War, which has started in the year of 1790 and it ended in the year of 1792 with the treaty called Srirangapatna. So let's go ahead. Let's move ahead. That the politics of Travancore was the main reason for the war. The king of Travancore built a fort in Kochi with the help of a British and captured Ayakota and Kanganur, the forts of Dutch. So all these were the clear breach of a Mangalore Treaty. Then what happened? The Travancore ruler, the king of Travancore, his name is Devaraj. So he made a proper planning for attacking on the Kochi, and earlier days this Kochi, it was in the control of Tipu Sultan, because it was a kind of a trading place, or it was a kind of a trading area for the Tipu Sultan or the Mysore dynasty. So due to that reason he was maintaining it out in a smoothest manner. But what happened, the Travancore's ruler, once when he was just passing by, he come across about the Kochi and he attacked on the Kochi, and he started to make a fortification, or he started to construct the fort in around of Kochi. Travancore the Raja ಕೊಚ್ಚಿ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿಯನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರದೇಶವಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಾಭದಾಯಕವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಟ್ರಾವೆನ್ಕೋರ್ ದ ರಾಜ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಂಡು ಕೊಚ್ಚಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿಯ ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ಕೂಡ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕೋಟೆ, ಭದ್ರವಾದ ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಬರೀ ಇದನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಿಸೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿರುವಂಥ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾವುದಂದ್ರೆ ಆಯಕೋಟ, ಕಂಗನೂರು. ಈ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದೊಳಗಡೆ ಆಯಕೋಟ ಮತ್ತು ಕಂಗನೂರು ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಡಚ್ಚರ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಡಚ್ಚರ ಆಡಳಿತದೊಳಗಡೆ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಯಕೋಟ, ಡಚ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕಂಗನೂರು ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಡಚ್ಚರ ಆಡಳಿತದೊಳಗಡೆ ಇದಾವೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಏನಿದು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಆತ ಇದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ? ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದೊಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ಗೆ. ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದೊಳಗಡೆ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ ಅಂಡರ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ ಕೈ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, ಕೈ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಯಾವಾಗ ಟ್ರಾವೆನ್ಕೋರದ ರಾಜ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆಗ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನನ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಟ್ರಾವೆನ್ಕೋರದ ರಾಜ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರು ಟ್ರಾವೆನ್ಕೋರದ ರಾಜನಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಚ್ಚಿಯನ್ನು ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ಆಯಕೋಟವನ್ನು ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮತ್ತು ಕಂಗನೂರನ್ನು ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಾಗಿರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಿರುವಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಟ್ರೀಟಿ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಎರಡನೇ ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಮೈಸೂರು ವಾರ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಟ್ರೀಟಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಮುರಿದು ಬಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆನ್ ಮೀ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅನ್ಲೆಸ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್, or whenever I'll be in the trouble you need to help me. That was the condition which was there in between of them. So here the Britishers, they have broken the condition and they have supported to the rule of Travancore for attacking on the Kochi. So then this made the Tipu Sultan to be anger in against of the Britishers. So then what are the steps he is going to take? See here, not only they have supported to the ruler of Travancore for attacking or to capturing the Kochi, Ayakota and Kanganuru. Along with these things, even openly the British started to attack on the Karwar and they captured it. They attacked on the Dindigal and they attacked on the Coimbatore and captured. These are the things. So when the Britishers were attacking on the places of Tipu Sultan, so here the Tipu Sultan was also making planning against the Britishers. Then he started to attack on the Britishers places, just like as a Baramahal, and in this Baramahal he has captured, and even he has captured Satyamangalam fort. So these are the two different places were completely captured by the Tipu Sultan. Not only these two places, even he was having a plan to capture the Tiruchinappalli fort also. And this Tiruchinappalli fort, it was there in the control of the Britishers. So he wanted to capture the Tiruchinappalli fort, and he just taken his march, or he has taken his soldiers in the direction of Tiruchinappalli. But during this moment itself, among the Britishers there were a few greatest changes have taken place. So which are those? In a sense, the leading procession of the British army was completely changed. Instead of Sir Eyre and all, the new leader has come for the Britishers, and his name is Lord Cornwallis. His name is Lord Cornwallis. As we have studied about the Lord Cornwallis, he was one of the greatest and the strongest army officer of the Britishers. So then he got a success in sending back the soldiers of Tipu Sultan. So here the Tipu Sultan failed in capturing the Tiruchinappalli. He got a defeat by the hands of Lord Cornwallis. So this small victory, it made the Britishers to be a much courageous one, and due to this reason itself, the Britishers started to capture the Tipu Sultan's places like as Kolar, Hoskote. So these are the places, and even they rushed towards the Bangalore. Not only they rushed towards the Bangalore, even in the Bangalore, whatever the forts were there, each and every fort they have captured, and they destroyed entire the Bangalore. So this was the point which made Tipu Sultan to be make hook or cook with the Britishers. Either they have to remain alive or I, because they have started to attacking on every places of the Britishers. So then what happened? Lord Cornwallis, as I have told you, he was one of the strongest and the greatest army officer of the Britishers. He started to seek support from the Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam. Because already Lord Cornwallis come across a few incidents, he come across a few real facts that in the earlier days, I mean to say, during the first Anglo-Mysore war in against of the Hyder Ali, Marathas and Hyderabad Nizams were completely supported us. So now in this case also, if you are seeking a support from the Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam for suppressing the Tipu Sultan, then definitely they will give us a support. So this was the ideology of Lord Cornwallis, and with this thought itself, he has taken the support from Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam for suppressing Tipu Sultan. Then what happened? The Marathas, after getting the support from the Britishers, they started to attack on the Tipu Sultan's places like as Savanuru, then Gajendragarh, Lakshmeswara, Hubli. So these are the places fallen in the control of Marathas. So now Tipu Sultan started to lose each and every places from his clutches. Already he lost Kochi, now he lost Karwar, Dindigal, Coimbatore, then along with these things he lost Kolar, Hoskote, then Bangalore also he lost, and slowly the Marathas, those who were taken the support from the Britishers, they started to attack on the places like as Savanuru, Gajendragarh, Hubballi and Lakshmeswara. So maximum places of Tipu Sultan completely went into the hand of Marathas and the Britishers. Then what happened? The combined force of these three, the Lord Cornwallis, I mean to say British, Marathas and Hyderabad Nizam, all three together, they made a proper planning for attacking on the Tipu Sultan, and directly they attacked on the Tipu Sultan's fort called the Srirangapatnam fort. They attacked on Srirangapatna at night, and they destroyed entire fort of Tipu Sultan's, and they destroyed the areas which were there in the control of Tipu Sultan at night itself. So then Tipu Sultan understood the fact that now I cannot go, now I cannot fight against the Britishers, because I am not having a proper weapons, I am not having a proper army with me, so better to go for an agreement. So here the Tipu Sultan lost the battle, and because of this losing the battle, Tipu Sultan need to pay a heavy duty to the Britishers. So then finally Tipu Sultan went into an agreement with the Britishers in the year of 1792. That agreement we can call as Srirangapatna Agreement, or the Treaty of Srirangapatna we can call. But as a penalty, there are certain conditions were there when the agreement was going on. What were the conditions? In a sense, Tipu Sultan, he need to pay around 3 crore rupees. He need to pay around 3 crore rupees as a war penalty, as the Britishers they have collected. Hope you might be remembering the first chapter when we were discussing. The Britishers they have collected a huge number of amount from Sirajud-Dowla, okay, because Sirajud-Dowla attacked on the Britishers. So because of that reason, the war as a war penalties, after the death of Sirajud-Dowla, the Mir Jafar one who has become the new ruler, he need to pay. The Britishers put the conditions. Hope you might be remembering. The same situation, so it is occurred here also in the year of 1792, when the agreement it was held, and as per the agreement's condition, the Tipu Sultan need to pay 3 crore rupees to the Britishers, and moreover than that, the half of his dynasty he has to distribute among the Britishers. Then again, in case if he is not having the 3 crore rupees, he has to put his 2 children as a pledge, or else as an hostage. ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ 3 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. 3 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅರ್ಧದಷ್ಟು ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ 3 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹಣ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ತನ್ನ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ದತ್ತು ಆಳಾಗಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಕೈ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾವಾಗ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅವಾಗ ಆ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವಿಚ್ ಹಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. Hope you are understanding the scene, my dear children. Then what are the things have taken place? Why, one more time, why the 4th Anglo-Mysore war held, whether the Tipu Sultan will succeed in releasing his children or not, what had happened to his children, that all the things we'll see in the next class. Till then, please stay safe. Thank you.